Hello everyone, I'm your digital host, Tatyana White. Welcome back to another episode of the 48 Recap, the one-stop shop to catch up on some of the top news stories of the week. We've had many stories happening this week, including new video footage of John Scott Jr.'s arrest, community reaction to that new arrest video. 2 people from Florida were arrested in Priceville on drug trafficking charges. A murder case against a Huntsville man was recently dismissed. A suspect has been arrested in an April Mentone shooting, and DUI checkpoints are happening in Huntsville this weekend. I hope you all are having a wonderful weekend. Let's get into this weekend's recap. Some of our top news stories of the week were out of Morgan County. Starting in Decatur, where new surveillance video from inside the Morgan County Jail on the night John Scott Jr. was arrested has been obtained by WAFF 48. The surveillance video shows at least 10 officers dragging and picking up Scott Jr. 48's Nick Ballinger has more on this developing story and reactions from the community.
It's been 16 days since John Scott Jr. was arrested by Decatur police and 9 days since he died after falling into a coma. Today was the first glimpse we had of his time in the Morgan County Jail after obtaining this security footage. Local activists are outraged.
John Scott Jr. was a human being. We treat dogs better than John Scott Jr. got treated.
In the video, you can see Scott dragged through the jail with a bag placed over his head. Police call it a split hood placed on suspects who bite or spit at officers.
And the truth came out today is just a snippet of the truth. That of what actually happened to John Scott.
I put in a request for the full surveillance footage from the jail on the day Scott died. I was told today that request had been denied.
It should be a public outcry for what happened to John Scott Jr.
Ever since his death, protests have been sprouting around the city, like this one during Monday's city council where protesters were asked to leave and one was even arrested. Warrants were sworn out for several people in this meeting. 6 of them turned themselves in this morning, including Terrence Adkins.
I don't have a criminal record. I don't do anything outside of protest and try to make sure that my community is safe. So it's just weird that I'm trying to protect my community and the police are not.
Adkins and others are now banned from stepping on any city property.
That's a way to get them not to be able to protest, not to be able to say what's going on.
The group says arrests won't stop them from delivering the message they want heard.
I am Steve Perkins.
We are
John Scott.
But we're going to go even harder and go even stronger.
What happened to LJ can happen to you. What happened to Steve can happen to you. What happened to Jaden can happen to you. What happened to them this morning can happen to you.
And staying in Morgan County, 2 people from Pensacola, Florida are in the Morgan County Jail on drug trafficking charges after their arrest following a traffic stop. 48's Faith Delp shares more on this story from Priceville.
The 2 drug suspects from Pensacola, Florida, went live on Facebook for about an hour to show their encounter on Wednesday night with the Priceville police officers. Police say the driver, Jonathan Green, rolled his window down an inch instead of all the way and argued with the officer for several minutes before handing over his license.
I'm being civilly disobedient. Civil disobedience. Civil disobedience.
Officers said they could smell marijuana from inside the car. Police eventually arrested Green and passenger Brittany McKinney. Police say they never complied with the officers. In fact, officers forcibly removed Green through the car window. In the video, you can see and hear a child in the back seat. Police say that child was within reach of the drugs. Court records show they had a 1/4 pound of marijuana and 5.5 ounces of liquid THC. We haven't heard back from police on the child's safety yet, but Green and McKinney were taken to the Morgan County Jail. They were both charged with trafficking dangerous drugs, unlawful possession of marijuana, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia, resisting arrest, and chemical endangerment of a child. They are each being held on $203,000 bonds. Reporting in Priceville, Faith Delp, 48 News, on your side.
And a murder case against a Huntsville man was recently dismissed. WAFF 48 obtained court records showing a Madison County judge threw out the murder case against Byron Peterson after finding no probable cause to move the case forward. Peterson was charged with shooting and killing his neighbor, 53-year-old Demetrius Jones, back in March. But this may not be the end of Peterson's legal battle. 48's Nick Ballinger spoke to Peterson's attorney, and his attorney believes prosecutors will still put this case in front of a grand jury to indict Peterson despite the judge's ruling.
22-year-old Byron Peterson is walking free after a Madison County District Judge ruled there wasn't enough probable cause to indict him for the murder of 53-year-old Demetrius Jones in March. Tim Douthit with the Madison County DA's office says a ruling like this is rare.
Normally, 99 out of 100 cases, you go in front of a judge, the police officer will say, this is our probable cause. District court will say, great, send it to the grand jury.
Peterson's attorney, Chad Morgan, says the judge believed his client's self-defense claim.
100%. This is probably one of the best self-defense cases I've had in years.
Morgan says Jones's killing on March 3rd started when Peterson went to confront him at his front door.
There was allegations that he had made some type of sexual remarks to my client's 14-year-old sister at the time.
When Peterson's sister identified Jones as the man who was allegedly making sexual advances at her, he and 3 others confronted him, and he says Jones came out with a gun.
Well, the guy was waving it in front of everybody in a threatening manner with his finger on the trigger. So my client moved to the right to get away from the weapon and pulled his own weapon and shot.
Morgan says his client not only had a self-defense claim for himself, but he was defending his sister as well.
Anybody comes to talk to your little sister when they're 14 about sexual advances, and it's your responsibility at that point because your parents are deceased. So, I mean, it's time to go take care of business.
Morgan believes prosecutors will present this case to a grand jury and once again pursue a murder charge, something Douthit says they can and more than likely will do.
Okay, so there's no real question that the guy did it. The question is self-defense. He's saying he should have been allowed to do it. And that is a defense in Alabama, and you can claim self-defense if you want. But in our view, the appropriate place for that decision to be made is not in front of a judge, but in front of a jury.
And after a 21-day investigation, the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office has confirmed that the suspect in a fatal shooting that happened in Mentone in April is in custody. On April 10th, 39-year-old Marcus Adam Battles was found deceased from a gunshot wound after his car crashed into a house. Investigators said he was shot while pulling into his driveway on County Road 641. Deputies announced on Thursday that a capital murder warrant was issued for 23-year-old Christopher Braden Jones of Calhoun, Georgia. Jones is currently in the Gordon County Sheriff's Office in Georgia, where he has remained in custody on unrelated charges. Officials said Jones will be extradited to DeKalb County, Alabama on his warrant once his other charges are settled. And Huntsville police are holding traffic checkpoints this weekend in memory of DUI victim 21-year-old Catherine Lively. Lively was killed in 2022 when a drunk driver crashed into her motorcycle. The driver, Garland Owen, was sentenced to 20 years in prison for her death. He had been convicted of 3 previous DUIs before this. Catherine's mom, Tamara Lively, said people often don't realize how dangerous drinking and driving can be.
The absence of her is permanent. She was kind of my best friend. Like everybody likes to say, mini-me. So all of us missing all of that. And she was very much the defender. If you were ever in, somebody was mean to you, she'd be the one to defend you and take care of you. I hope that if her image or her name or understanding anything about her story helps anybody, just one person would be putting her passing to use.
HPD said the DUI task force will conduct checkpoints around the city this weekend to reduce impaired driving and promote safety on the roadways. On your screen, you can see a list of those DUI checkpoints, which will be around Monrovia Road and some of those areas as well, and Sparkman Drive. And if you get stopped at one, be prepared to give officers your driver's license, proof of insurance, and vehicle registration. And coming up after the break, a look into mental and physical health advice from the Rocket City dietitian, a sneak peek into news coming up in our evening newscast, giving a look into some fun events happening in the Huntsville area this weekend. All that and more when we come back. Hello everyone and welcome back to the 48 Recap. This week I had the pleasure of talking with the Rocket City dietitian again for Mental Health Awareness Month, and she shared more about the powerful connection between nutrition, physical health, and mental well-being.
There is definitely a gut-brain connection, and we're finding more and more with studies about that it really does impact your mental health. So gut healthy foods, so fermented foods, kombucha is an easy way to get there if you've tried that. You can also do yogurts, fermented foods like kimchi or sauerkraut, and just incorporating that into your week is a great way to improve your gut health. Exercise boosts our mood. It increases our endorphins, our happy hormone. And the more you do it, the more you crave it, and the easier it is to do it and to eat healthier along with it. So incorporating some type of movement into your daily routine or weekly routine. Start slow, start adding a 5-10 minute walk after you eat, even if it's just walking in place while you watch a show. Anything, any type of movement. Something simple, and it'll start snowballing into the next habit and the next, and then you'll be healthier.
It is always great getting to talk with Rachel, the Rocket City dietitian. She is truly such a gem. And to hear more of Rachel Brown's advice on maintaining a healthy lifestyle to help with both your physical and mental health, and to find out ways you can connect with her, the full 48 Now interview is available to watch on our website at WAFF48.com under the Digital Shows tab. And a few stories to look out for coming up in our evening newscast. Limestone County Sheriff's Office investigators are currently processing the scene of a shooting that occurred early this morning at the Arrowhead Landing boat ramp. Authorities said one person was transported to a local hospital following the incident, which occurred during a party held at the location. The condition of the victim is unknown at this time. Limestone County officers are asking people to avoid the area at this time as the investigation remains active. And authorities released new information on a missing Albertville teen who was found in Arizona earlier this week. The missing 13-year-old was last seen on Martling Road in Albertville with her dog on April 19th. She was found on April 30th in Arizona with 32-year-old Raul Alexis Arellana Ramiro. In the new details released, authorities said on Wednesday at around 5:37 a.m., detectives conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle traveling eastbound on I-40 near North Sun Valley Road for a civil traffic violation. Authorities said during the stop, the detective made contact with the driver, who was later identified as the man from New Mexico. While speaking with detectives, officers said the detective observed a person attempting to hide under a blanket in the vehicle's front passenger seat. Officers said he claimed the passenger was a 19-year-old female friend he had recently met in Las Vegas, and he was taking her back to New Mexico with him. They eventually found out the young girl was actually 13 years old and was the missing girl from Alabama. He was booked into an Arizona jail and is being held on a $100,000 bond. He is currently awaiting extradition to Alabama. And the Limestone County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigations Division is seeking the public's help in identifying 3 men accused of selling counterfeit jewelry and theft. Authorities described them as black males in their 40s to 50s, and they said these men have been seen attempting to sell counterfeit jewelry at multiple locations throughout Limestone County. On Friday at around 3 p.m., authorities said these 3 men were involved in a theft in the East Limestone County area near Highway 72 and Mooresville Road. Officers said if you are approached in a parking lot by someone attempting to sell jewelry, or if you recognize any of these individuals, contact the Limestone County Sheriff's Office. Tune into our evening newscast to hear more details on all of these stories. Due to the Kentucky Derby, we will not have a 5 or 6 p.m. show today, but stay tuned for our 10 p.m. show tonight for more. And if you're looking for a fun event to check out this weekend, you should check out the 2-day celebration happening this weekend for Girl Scouts of North Central Alabama at Camp Coleman to celebrate their 100th year anniversary. The celebration for today has come to an end, but they will be having another celebration tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. CEO of Girl Scouts of North Central Alabama, Karen Peterlin, shared more on why people should come out to this incredible celebration.
I just think it's an opportunity for girls and their families, and whether they're current Girl Scouts, thinking about Girl Scouts, never been a Girl Scout, just to have the opportunity to come and see activities from what girls did 100 years ago to what girls do today at Girl Scout camp. Quite a difference. For me, to be part of a 100th anniversary, this is again, once in a lifetime.
Yes, for sure.
You know, there's not many places that turn 100 years old. But to think about Girl Scouts has been, has celebrated 112 years, 113 years actually, and Camp Coleman is 100 years old.
Wow, yeah.
And to think about, how many girls were influenced, how many girls had the opportunity, how many girls that, carried those life skills and those leadership lessons that they learned with them forever. I just think it's an opportunity for girls and their families.
Karen, and just hearing all the unique history of Camp Coleman and Girl Scouts in North Central Alabama, and to hear more information on tomorrow's celebration and ways you can get involved with their organization, whether it's for the celebration tomorrow or just to volunteer or mentor, you can check out the full interview and web article on WAFF 48 under the Digital Shows tab. And there are just so many more amazing events happening in the city this weekend, like the Strawberry Festival in Lawrence County and the Porch Fest at 5 Points in Huntsville. So definitely go and check out some of those fun events in Huntsville and in the surrounding areas and see what they have to offer this weekend. And you can also check out huntsville.org's event tab and wearehuntsville.com's event calendar to check out more events happening in the area. That's all I have today for the 48 recap. Let's check out some of the Saturday snapshots people submitted today. So these photos were submitted over the last day or two from viewers Crystal Lee, Kim Howell, Clint, and Allison Jackson. And I just love all of these photos of the sky, especially with all this rain and the storms and everything we've been getting, and just seeing all these beautiful and interesting photos from all across the Tennessee Valley has just been astonishing, beautiful. We have like sunsets, lightnings, interesting clouds. We have like the whole 9 yards. So this was amazing. So thank you all so much for submitting these photos for Saturday snapshots, and I hope you and everyone else have a great rest of your weekend and a safe Saturday. That is all I have today for the 48 recap, and don't forget to check out don't forget to tune into the 48's weather extra segments. Our meteorologists go live every Monday through Friday at 10:30 a.m. and 9:30 p.m. and every Saturday and Sunday. Tune into meteorologist Jeff Donors tomorrow at 8:15 a.m. for the 48 First Alert weather extra segment, and it is just another way to give you all extra insights on the latest weather forecast. And make sure to download our 48 apps and follow us on our Facebook and YouTube channel so you don't miss any updates on the weather. And if you would like to stay connected with me throughout the week, please be sure to follow my Facebook page at Tatyana White, WAFF 48. Take care, everyone, and be safe this weekend. I will see you all back here next Saturday. I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend.